All right. Um, Gotta give props to America. America was the first test subject in our training check. America did fantastically well. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. I didn't see any tears at the end, so I'll take that as a great sign. But like I said, the thing is not meant to be a test. It's not meant to intimidate you. Um, what I'm really going for here is seeing how you actually understand. So I'm not looking for you to recite word by word of everything to me, but kind of you putting it in your own words and being able to match with our interpretation of everything that I put down. Okay, so if you can get that, then you'll be totally good to go. So our vision, very simple, elevate people's growth mindset so we all achieve higher ambitions. Our mission is to guide first-gen high school students so they will pursue and obtain a college education. Okay, so our playbook. So I think throughout the year, if you're planning for something, so curriculum, you've been thinking about how you can be a better staff member, look towards these three. And in a couple of weeks, Jose and I, and if you want to hop in on these planning meetings, you're totally welcome. I'll put it out there. At some point, we'll be coming up with measurements because that really is crucial in determining how good of a job we are in inspiring Y Scouts to take charge of academic performance, engaging, how good are we in terms of engaging Y Scouts and families, and how good are we at coaching them to be responsible decision makers and communicators. Okay, and this really stems from that last part in the talking YSP training. So the secret sauce to achieving our plays that I really want all staff members, and I'm pretty sure throughout the year, at some point I may pull you aside to have a talk with you about this, whether it's between me and you and another staff member, or you with the scholars and families. It's this concept of earning each other's trust, and I think our trainings have been building up to this, and I just like with everything, it's like I always have that concept in my head, but I couldn't quite put into words. And I came across this person, not sure, she's either a lecturer or scholar. Name is Rachel Botsworth, and I mean, trust is all she studies. So if you want to kind of look into that, and I thought she crafted a perfect message around trust, and kind of this picture is kind of encapsulates what she talks about in terms of earning trust. Is there's two kind of major areas. One is capability, the other person's capability, and their character. Capability is obviously a lot easier to see, right? It's their competence. So if I hire you, you can earn my trust by doing a great job, right? You know how to work with scholars, you know how to tutor a scholar. That's competence, right? And then it's not just having the skills and having the talent, but it's also following through with it. So being consistent, being reliable. I see you show up on time. You show good work every single time. It's not like this roller coaster ride. Like on good days, I'll get the best, 100%. On bad days, you're doing like 25%, right? So consistency there. And so it's the same thing with the scholars, right? When we talk about their competence, when you assign them a project, you expect them to put in quality work. And if they don't know, or they aren't quite sure how to get there, then that's kind of your job to build up that competence level. But the reliability part, that part you can definitely hold them accountable on, right? Showing up, being on time, that's something they can definitely control. And even if they can't control, they can be reliable in terms of their communication with you. So then that leads to the last two parts, which is more the internal part. And this is where the feelings come into play, which you all went through training about feelings. And I think this is, again, kind of where that stems from, is when we talk about feelings, is you want to feel this sense of trust in the other person, right? That they're doing these things for you. And so they're earning your trust. And then you get this perception like, hey, yeah, this person is trustworthy, right? So it's a perception on your behalf there that they're trustworthy. And that's the kind of message that I'm trying to get everybody. If we're having a relationship, me and you and the scholar, you and the family, it really needs to be a two-way street, right? I think in the past couple of years, I've noticed more it's been singular directions, like us, hey, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this? And then there's definitely some, either parents or scholars that don't respond. Um, and you're still maintaining your smile. You're trying to be nice, understanding. But I think this year, I'm not saying you should yell at them. I'm saying you should check them on that and say, hey, look, I literally dedicated this time to meet up with you and with you, the parent. And so when you're late, it actually, affects my work because now I have to be late for another meeting, or, now I have to ask my boss if I can have additional work time, right? Or, hey, I don't have additional time because I need to study for my midterm, right? So it's letting them know, like, hey, look, this happened, but I really would like to not see this happen again because it really affects a whole other stuff, and I want you to at least know that, like how your actions affect my world. And I don't know if we traditionally did that. We just kind of say, oh, okay, let's move on, let's reschedule, and let's just kind of keep that pattern going. Okay, so integrity is really, and I think especially for Y scholars, and I know in today's world, that thing is so hard. Like our leaders of the world really suck at this in having integrity, right? And yet, I think it's so important to have that. I think if you say what you mean and then you do what you say, then you really stand out as a leader. You really uh, move upwards quite a bit when you do that. And then lastly, obviously showing benevolence. In this case, I would say compassion, and compassion defined as empathy plus action. So we don't just want to feel, what the students or what the scholars are feeling. We want to say, hey, look, I totally get what you're going through. I'm really sorry you're going through that. So let's figure out what's the best course of action. Is the best course of action, hey, let's map out a plan where you can fit the program in your schedule, or hey, it sounds like you really want to try to commit to the program, but there's just no way on your end. So maybe it's time to take a break until you can get that sorted out, and then let's talk about instead let's talk about you taking a break and how you're going to rejoin the program as an active member next semester. Okay, so you're not saying, oh, well, can't do it, goodbye. It's like, let's also make a plan for you to come back as soon as possible. Okay. And then again, like I said, it's not just this roller coaster ride. There should be consistency, right? That's how you build this idea, like, hey, I have this talent, I'm reliable, I mean what I say, and I'm definitely a compassionate person. Great. So, I really appreciate you all kind of working with my pace right now. I know right now it's like, I would say it's like my office. If you've seen my office, it kind of follows my world pattern when my world is like craziness and there's like boxes and stuff everywhere. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with everything. So next 2 weeks, I think we'll still continue to have this kind of crazy schedule, kind of all these things popping up, all these updates. So please bear with me. I appreciate your patience. But I think I'm really working hard to try to build towards this level of stability. So for the next 2 weeks, for seminars and study groups, your main job is to get Y Scouts to understand we're here, we're a group, we're building that trusting relationship with one another. So there will be a lot of team building throughout the year. And I think we really need to make that happen on some level. And I'm not saying I know the answer. I know nobody really knows the answer on how to do that over Zoom. But this is where we need to kind of work together and keep figuring out, okay, what do we do to build this team mentality within the seminars, which will have, I would say, anywhere between 7 to 9 Y scholars. And then study groups will be anywhere between 5 to 7. Okay, so a much smaller group. Seminars, just to kind of hold us over for the next 2 weeks. It's very straightforward. So all of you have started filling out the course planners. That's just the starting point. For the next 2 weeks, we're going to have them analyzed. And they kind of did that in the springtime, at least last year's 9th and 10th graders. But again, we want to make this a semesterly process. Uh, so they're doing it every semester. They're always looking at their classes. They're checking out, they're matching that to their A through Gs and their high school graduation. There's definitely times where we had scholars who met the A through Gs, but they were missing one semester of PE and they were at risk of not being able to graduate from Berkeley High. Okay, so that's really sucky, right? You can apply to UCs, but you can't graduate from high school. So really getting them to understand this so that they're not just relying on their counselors or school counselors, which is what happened in the past. They're like, well, aren't they looking out for my best interests? And yes, they want to, but they don't have the capacity to, right? So getting them to understand, like, you have the power now that you are informed on how to do this. And then even better is you should be choosing your classes. And so I think a big part of this program kind of moving forward is start getting Y scholars to understand, like, what is the direction they want to head towards. Okay, we don't want to scare them thinking about, okay, what's your 10-year plan? I think that question always scares the crap out of people. And not to mention, that stuff never works out anyways. But it's more like at least have some sort of direction. If you want to be a biotech scientist, okay, that's fine. It doesn't mean you have to commit 10 years to it. But if you're going towards that direction, are you choosing classes that's moving towards that route? Are you getting involved in extracurriculars that's going to move you towards that route? And I think that's really going to help our scholars develop a better sense of purpose. And at least they'll have a lot more to talk about when they get to senior year. All right, study groups. I'm still, the study groups concept is still kind of interesting. As I think it's conceptually it's easier to be done in person. On Zoom, I think we'll start with team building, and then I think I want to do a little bit of like study skills. How can they can be better students at school? So we'll start with goal setting, and then I think I don't know how much pushback I'm going to get about this, but I would like all scholars to either use the calendar function on their phone or at least use their Gmail calendar or Google Calendar. Okay, so we want to at least teach them that, know how to set up appointments, because I do envision us sending like invites through Google Calendar a lot this year and probably in the future. And so just knowing how to do that and having them know how to do that so that in the future we can move away from Calendly and they will literally just invite you to an appointment. Okay. And then lastly, for everybody, either with your group, with your grade level, or we can create committees or we'll just create sessions. We're going to develop the growth mindset workshops for October. Okay, so I know the very first meeting is going to be what are some topics we would like to offer out there. So I'm looking for probably 6 workshops. We can, I would say, probably do 4 kind of unique topics, and then 2 can probably be repeats out of the 4. Okay, so we'll basically run 2 sessions twice, and then with 2 additional unique topics. Okay, so I think next week I'll call for a meeting where we just brainstorm ideas that we would like to put out there. We should also do kind of either targeted audience, so it could be like specific to 12th graders, and then some where it's more, it could be open to either 2 grade levels or all grade levels. And then definitely the next 2 weeks, at least for now, the next 2 weeks, I want us to be doing reminders for all the study groups and seminars. Okay, just so they're hearing it constantly, and we're just saying, hey, friendly reminders for these next 2 weeks, and then we're gonna slowly kind of ease off on the reminders. Okay, but we'll still continue reminders, especially if the scholars are requesting. I don't mind doing that. Okay, as always, if you have questions, please put in the chat. All right, and then tonight there will be a little bit of interaction, so I'm gonna call on people. As always, I mean, there's no right or wrong really. I don't expect you to know the number one because it's not in the guide. So let's go over the 2 times C set. Okay, this is gonna be like my legacy in the Y Scholars program. So 2 times C set stands for call, Slack, email, and text. So you run it 2 times if needed. Um, so you see there's a missing number one there. Okay. So I want you to we're going to go around and you give me your best shot on what you think Audi is thinking about in terms of what should you have before you do all of those things. Okay. All right. I'm going to just go around. Let's see. America, what do you think number one is?
Your appointment calendar open.
Yeah, calendar open. That's good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Good try. Nat.
A script.
A script? A script can be helpful, yeah. That's helpful. It's a good first step. Jasmine?
I'm thinking maybe having Airtable open with the student you're trying to contact.
Okay, so
like looking at the comments that we make.
Okay, so have like all your like info, history stuff. Okay, it's good. Anaí?
I'm thinking like a list of what you're trying to, like what you want, the message you want to get through, like what you're asking for, like just have that ready, like before you make a call.
Got it. So what kind of message you want? Okay, Elaine.
Once, I don't know if this is applicable, but once you told me that I should send out a mass email to warn everyone that I'm going to call them soon.
Did I say that?
Well, you said you can do that. I didn't do it because I was like, this is a lot. Okay. You did advise.
All right. Cool. I mean, these are all good technical kind of first one. And I think what I'm really looking for here is before you start calling. So I assume you're going to do all of that. Like I assume you're going to be in front of a computer. You should have your phone by your side, all that stuff, right? So I'm talking about like literally right before you're about to make that call, make sure you know what you want. So that's kind of why I think along the lines of what Anaí was saying. So what exactly is it that you want from the student, right? Or from the parents? Okay, and this is just like our training around negotiation, right? Or having that difficult conversation. You don't just want to walk in just to have that conversation. You want to walk in with kind of knowing what exactly you're looking for, right? You want the scholar to do a makeup session. And if so, is there a specific day that you're thinking about? Okay, so you kind of have that ready to go, right? Just so that if you do reach somebody, then you can communicate that. Okay, and then you're not just kind of like on the go improvising that when you're talking to that person. Okay, so then you're going to call all the parties, and of course, once you reach somebody, then you obviously don't have to continually call other people and leave voicemails and all that stuff, right? So always call the scholar first. If not, leave a voicemail, then go for the parents or guardians. Leave voicemails for all of them. Document calls on Airtable. So keep it short and brief. VM called and left VM on making up for missed session. Okay, that should be very simple. 5-10 seconds, write that. And then after that, follow up with a Slack message. Okay, a 1-2 punch. Okay, and then hopefully they get back to you by then, so you don't have to do the next part. But if not, then follow up with an email. Okay, the email will be your lifesaver on the parents' end and also on my end. Okay, when I have that, I can just search through the email and be like, look, we sent an email, and I know that if they sent me an email, that means they called you and they Slacked you. So that's 3 communications there. Okay, and then if scholar has been MIA in terms of communications, you're welcome to ask me to send a text for you. I think I did that for Kat the other day. I used Kat and being like, hey, I'm trying to reach you. What the heck? You gonna get back to us or what? Okay. And just remember, no personal texting or Slack DMs for this year. Okay, honey, what's up?
One of the students texted me today, like on my personal phone, just because it was Rachel. She couldn't find the Zoom link.
Yep.
So I at the meeting I just told her that if she needed to get in contact with us to like use community or send through Slack.
Yes, and that's totally fine. Okay. And then if no responses after going through all of that, then you wait. Was it? I would say. I think I put 1.5 days. I would say a full 24 hours, and then after that, you're fair game to reach out to them again. Okay. And then the next round, definitely put in a deadline. Please get back to me within the next 2 days. Okay. I think in some special circumstances like this week, I'm really pushing for everyone to get their one-on-ones completed by this week because we need to get them scheduled out, right? So, you know, in those certain scenarios, if you don't have the time frame, then I'm okay with you kind of closing up on that deadline. You know, if it's within 24 hours, I think that should be fine. Okay. I think don't do some sort of unreasonable deadline like, hey, you know, right now it's what, 5:30. I need you to get back to me by 8. Okay, I can tell you the probability of that's very slim. All right, so let's do some practice here. I was gonna break you onto breakout rooms to work together, but let's just let's use the power of the group here. All right, so who has seminar next Monday? I think Nat or Anai. Okay. So Audi did not attend your seminar on Monday. Okay, so then you called Audi. Audi responds, and I say, yeah, okay, sorry about that. I will go to the Tuesday seminar. Okay. So what are some steps that you need to do here? So you called, and I'm going to go to America here. What are some things I need to do? Using our two times.
Oh, okay. So this is like, is this after he, like, we already agreed that he's going to come to the Tuesday? Or, like,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
wanting to.
So I missed a Monday seminar, right? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So then the first step you did was you called to see if I could make it up
Right.
on Tuesday. And you
Okay.
got me, and I agreed to Tuesday. So then what are your next steps?
So then I go on Airtable and make sure I document. Called Audi. He agreed to go on Tuesday.
Excellent.
Period.
Anything else? Actually, I'll ask another person. That's fine.
Okay.
Thanks, America. Nat, what else needs to happen?
I believe you are supposed to notify their parents that they missed.
Through
Through this 2 times. Well, I guess maybe not the 2 times, but I would call them, and then if I didn't get a hold of them, I would email them. Right?
them as in the parents?
Yeah.
Okay. So not exactly. Remember, you are notifying the parents when they have an incomplete. So if they're making it up, it wouldn't be incomplete. Okay?
Okay.
But you're right. The parents are going to be notified via what, Jasmine? What do you think?
Well, I was thinking the next step was going on Slack and reminding the student, but maybe
Okay.
not. So I'm guessing the parents will be notified through call that I had a conversation with the student to keep them accountable.
Nope. Because you actually got what you wanted, right? Which is you got the scholar to reschedule. So you're actually done regarding that. Okay. So So what I'm really looking for here is an email. So you want a documentation of that. Does that make sense? So you're not saying like, oh, you're in trouble, you got an incomplete week, but you're sending an email. And this is just like, I mean, when you go to a job in the future, right, or this job, anytime you need some sort of like documented proof, like, hey, oh, we rescheduled, or hey, I'm asking for a vacation time. I mean, you need to kind of document that. So you would send that, just saying, hey, just confirming again that you are going to the Tuesday to make up for this week. And then you include the parents in on that email as well as me. So then we're all on the same page there. Okay. Honey?
You answered my question. Sorry.
Okay. So this is kind of, so if the situation's been taken care of, technically you don't have to do the other steps, but I just want an email just to confirm that, well, definitely one for proof, and then one to include all these other parties in so that we're all in the know. Okay. Yeah, I know this part probably wasn't as clear through that guide, so hopefully we're on the same page moving forward. All right, so you did not reach a Y Scholar. I know this happened to some of you this week. Okay, so PG1. Hopefully, all of you know what PG1 means. It's not a movie rating system. It's Parent Guardian 1. So PG1 picks up, and mom tells you, "Yeah, okay, definitely. What a jerk my son was for missing your meeting. I will definitely tell him to give you a call back." Okay, so then what do you think your next move is? I'm the parent and say, yeah, I'll definitely have him call you back. So what would you like your next move to be? Elaine, what do you think?
I would ask if they'd actually just hand the phone to the student right now.
Okay. And if the student's not available?
Then I would ask them to tell the student to call me back at a certain time.
Okay. So you can set a little deadline there. Okay. So let's say you do set that. It's like, okay, yes, please have Audi call me back by tomorrow noontime. Okay. Great. So we've concluded a conversation with the parent. You don't need to call the other parent because you've you've reached somebody by call, right? So that's taken care of. What's your next move, Jasmine?
I'm assuming you would send an email to the parents and the Y Scholar saying that I just spoke with your parents. Your parents let us know that you will call me back. Please call me back when you get this email or
Yes.
when you speak to your parents.
Definitely. Great. So once again, with an email just to confirm everything. Okay. So then, okay, any questions so far? Is everyone following along? This making sense? Seeing nods. Okay, Slack.
A question, actually.
Yep.
So, can we Slack the Y Scholar before we email them?
Yes, I think I would suggest that. I think maybe a good rule of thumb is do all the steps until you and the scholar have an agreement, right? Which goes back to step one, is knowing what you want. You don't want the parent to be telling the scholar when they should go to a group. I don't think that's what you want, right? You want the scholar to literally be communicating with you and confirming with you, hey, Tuesday works for me. I will be there on Tuesday, right? You don't want this intermediate person in between you, right?
Right.
Okay. So yes. So if I call the parent, I think I will follow up with a Slack and say, hey, just talk to your mom. And your mom said that she's letting you know that you need to reschedule with me. And I would like you to get back to me by tomorrow noontime. Okay. And then you send an email to kind of capture all of that. Okay. And again, with these emails, I really don't need you to go, don't put that much like content in there. Okay. Just keep it brief, keep it straight to the point, and then send it out. Okay, so let's do the next scenario. So you did not reach Y Scholar PG1. Obviously, then you left a voicemail for both of them. PG2 picks up, says he will tell the Y Scholar. And you're like, great, thank you. You sent out a Slack, an email, and amazingly, the Y Scholar calls you back and confirms that, hey, I can go to Tuesday's seminar. Okay, so we're done, right? Nat, what do you think?
I mean, this is kind of like the first scenario. You send an email to confirm and have that on file.
Definitely, yes, exactly. So you like email out everybody and say, hey, thanks for responding and confirming. Use a class recognition on this one. Class shadows, like, thanks for being responsible and getting back to me in a timely manner. And just want to send you a confirmation that you are on the Tuesday. Here's a Zoom link. There you go. Okay. All right. And so now we have, you did not reach anyone. You left voicemails for everybody. You slacked. You sent out an email. And now it's one full day. So take me through a process now. Anai, what do you think? What are you going to do next? In one full day now. You're on mute.
Sorry. In that process, where's the community text also sent?
Sure. You asked me to send one. I sent it for you.
Then I think you should repeat the process, but this time we added deadline. Like everyone know within 24 hours.
Right. Great. Okay. How about this? So I'm like, hey, Elaine, yeah, no problem. I will be there on Tuesday. And then I don't show up again. Elaine, what are you going to do now? Besides yelling at me?
Okay, I would email them with the parent and schedule a meeting. Talk about it.
Okay. Yes. I think eventually, yes, you by yourself. But for now, let me know because I want to be in on that meeting. Okay. Great. But yes. So this is the key this year is because then this is exactly that part about destroying trust, right? Like, we did this effort and you're like, I agree, right? First agreement you bombed, second agreement you bombed again. It's like, now we really need you to understand, like, this can't be happening. Okay. So it's incomplete, but it's also a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more serious than that. Okay. Cool. Before we go to the next part, just any questions or any scenarios that you can think of where this process is a little bit funky or you're not sure what to do? Based on your experiences, of course, not just making up some.
I remember you said something about why scholars can reschedule with you, but they have to let you know 2 days in advance. Is that correct?
Yes. I think I asked, ideally it's 2 days in advance to make it work. And if we can't reschedule them, so that's more if something came up, right? Like they they have a doctor's appointment that just got scheduled, and they're trying to reschedule. Then usually in the past we would just say, oh, you have a verified absence, you don't go to the group. But if we can reschedule you, then we don't have to mark it as such. You'll actually still have a complete week if you attend the makeup, right?
Okay.
But if they don't do that by the end of the week and we can't fit them into another, again, based on availability and space as well. This year I don't want to cram like 20 people in one session because 10 people couldn't make it to the other one. Okay. So then they'll just have to take it verified at that point by the end of the week. Okay. Anything else? America, Nat, Jasmine, Annie, all good? Okay. Great. All right. This one, I just need some either input or we do a vote here. So coaching this week's been working out decently. I think I would like to see you all, and I think I'll figure out a process where multiple people in a room. What do we do to make sure that we're admitting students so that they're not stuck on a waiting list? So for either we create a room for each particular area. So, if you're going to coaching, you go to Zoom coaching. If you're going to seminar, you go to Zoom seminar. If you're going to growth mindset workshops, then that's Zoom workshop or Zoom group, study group. So that's one way to go about doing it. Or the other way would be to just do it by grade level. So, if you're ninth, you just go to Zoom ninth, and then we'll kind of dish you out accordingly. So what that means then is Zoom 9 would have all three, right? You will have technically coaching in there. You could have coaching in there and study group and seminars in there all at the same time.
Would it maybe be possible to have like the Zoom specific for the grade for maybe like the coaching sessions? That way it could just be broken out into breakout rooms and then have like Zoom seminar and Zoom workshop as a whole different one. Just because I feel like if we have all three in there, it might be kind of crazy.
Yep. So you're saying like Zoom coaching 9?
So yeah, like let's say like, or like we could just keep like let's say this is for the juniors, we could just keep Zoom 11 for like coaching, and then have like the Zoom seminar and the Zoom workshop specific for those two, just because they are bigger and larger groups. Whereas coaching would be one-on-one, and they could just break out into a breakout room.
Right. Okay. I think just one thing is that coaching this year is you're doing about half the size this year because it's once a month. So just it wouldn't be that many more people in that room. If anything, I would say it's kind of like this week. And this week was pretty intense, I would say.
Would it be like we would have Zoom, or like the coaching sessions and the seminars at the same time? I just feel like because it'd be a little distracting to see like kids leave and then they think like, oh, I can leave too, and just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Like walking out, like let's say like a Zoom like a coaching session got done, because like I feel like that when I see students leave, I feel like that. I feel like, oh, they're leaving, I can leave too, and that's a bad habit personally on my part. But like I feel like that's like the students would see all these students leaving and be like, why are they leaving?
Yeah. So the way I'm thinking about this is that no one's going to be in the main room. So everyone would have to pass through the main room. So like for seminars, we'll create a breakout room for the group to meet up. Does that make sense? And then for coaching, it'll be just like this week, you have your own room that you're meeting with scholars. And the same thing for workshops, it will be three breakout rooms of each grade level if needed. Although I don't even know if there's going to be that much of a crossover. Does that make sense? So the only difficulty is having people to moderate that main room.
Yeah.
So Jose and I can take on that on some level. And I guess the only other thing I can think of is that we schedule out, you all kind of distribute, like, hey, you happen to be kind of have coaching around this time anyway, so can you manage that room and just make sure you don't schedule for that half-hour block. And also, I think if Y scholars are late more than 15 minutes, I think they should just reschedule at that point. I don't know if we want to count them as coming in. Well, definitely not for coaching, right? So
would we be able to have hosting abilities, like whoever's doing the coaching session and whoever's doing the seminar at the same time?
Yeah, so that's the thing is, no, because that's the thing is you have to sign out and sign back in.
Yeah. Okay.
So that means the coaches have to kind of support each other. On some level, and then the
Okay.
seminars, like the facilitators will have to kind of support one another. But also, like
Okay.
I said, it's not just on you all. Like Jose and I will also be around to help out. Okay. Annie, was there something on your end?
No, I was just gonna say that when you're in breakout rooms, you can only see like when people leave from that breakout room. So if we were to do like seminar, we won't see if like other class grade levels leave the
Yeah.
breakout room. So that wouldn't be like students wanting to leave because I don't think they would be able to see that.
Right. Exactly. The sucky thing about if you're the host and you're in a breakout room is you can't see. At least I don't think you can see people on the wait list. No, I don't think so. So I think worst comes to worst is you may have to get another device to log in. So if you're on your computer, which you should be on your computer when you're doing these sessions, maybe log in with your phone as well. Like this week, you may have seen Dominic log in with 2 devices. So that means you can keep that phone person in the main room to admit any people that come in late. Okay. All right. So I am leaning more towards a dedicated room for each type of programming. I think it's a little bit kind of talking it out with you all. I think the grade level may be a little bit too chaotic where it's like just a horde of 9th graders coming in and then we have to figure out who goes into where. Like, oh, you're going to coaching, you're going to a seminar, you're going to workshop. I think that's going to be very maddening. Okay. And I know obviously you can also create your own rooms for just to meet up with Y Scholars. I think I'm only a little bit hesitant about that because then you have to give them like the specific room numbers and passwords, and I don't know, I see a lot of confusions already just with one link. So Nat, was there something?
Yeah, I feel like maybe we were talking about this, but I was getting a little confused. But has anyone, like, don't we have to have hosting abilities for, like, even if we're in a breakout room, like if someone's running a seminar, isn't it necessary for you to like be able to mute all the people in your room, or like won't no one have that ability if there's just one host in a bunch of breakout rooms? Or am I not thinking of something?
That's what I was like gonna ask about too. Because like I know like I don't know how like sharing a screen works, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to have hosting abilities to share a screen. So like I don't know if it would be like the other facilitators be able to share their screen if they have like if they don't have the hosting ability to share.
Yeah, good call.
You don't need your hosting abilities to share the screen. You just need it for like how Nat was saying, to mute all or like unmute all and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, Nat, that is. So the thing is, then if that's the case, it would just be like this week. If you ever need hosting abilities, you can claim host at any given time. So just as long as you are doing that. Sharing screen, yeah, as long as we set up the rooms that participants can share screen. So the only risk with that is if you have a scholar that decides to be funny and overtake you and share their screen for some reason. Okay, but I don't know. I haven't seen any trouble in the springtime when we were working with scholars, and then if we've identified them already, I think there's kind of less risk of that too. Okay, but I think that's a good call. I'll have to think about this a little bit more then. Okay, and then I'll definitely let you all know before the weekend ends. Okay, but definitely good points that were brought up here. All right, I'm gonna way over time here. Sorry, folks. just kind of some other things, miscellaneous. I didn't know how to categorize them, so I just kind of slammed them all into one. So this year, as you know, based on doing the YSP talks, wording matters. So make sure you're calling seminars, you're calling growth mindset workshops, and then study groups, even though they technically are all just group meetings or workshops. Make sure you separate them out so the language, Y Scholars language, is carried over to the Y Scholars as well. Okay. And something that I'm going to be checking all of us on, I've had a few slip-ups today as well. Make sure you're saying Y Scholars. I think we need to kind of repeat that so there's a form of identity for the students in this program. Okay. So make sure when you're saying, you're a Y Scholar, not your student. Next is, for some of you, you've been DMing me in the grade specific Slack workspace. And so I'm going to just kind of try to keep it consistent. If you all can just do DMs, if you want to do DMs, that's fine, but do it in the main Y Scholars program, just so that I don't have to be like, oh, where did this person talk to me yet? Okay. So let's keep it all same place, much easier.
Where is that, Audi? Like which
The main Y. Say again.
Like the main Y Scholars program, we can DM you there, or
Yeah.
specific...
The one that you were in last year before we did these grade specific Slack room or Slack workspace. Does that make sense?
Did I DM you there today? Is that the right one? Or is that the...
I don't know. Yes, no, maybe so. No, you didn't DM me. You DM me in the right place today, I think. Yeah. So you should be in at least 2 workspaces, right? The Y Scholars program one, and then you have the Y Scholars class of whatever.
Got it.
Right. So I'm asking you to DM me in the Y Scholars program one. Okay. Yeah, and this came out because I think Jose DMing the senior one, and then I totally forgot, and I thought I was like imagining that he sent me this request, and then come to find out he did DM me about that. Okay. Number 3 is definitely over communicate for now. So that's why I'm asking you. I think I put optional in the CSET steps that you can optional to CC me in. I think I'm changing it to CC me in on all email communications, just so that I have it on file, and I'll just drop into a folder I created in my email. Okay, so don't worry about spamming me. Okay, and like I said, just for now, I think we're getting used to working online together. So I'd rather you over communicate with me. So like I know you this week's been sending me, shooting me all these questions, which is fantastic. We appreciate you for doing that. Nat, same thing, asking for clarifications on things. I think those are all great. Like I'd rather you take up my time, and I'm taking the time to answer your questions and clarifying things for you, than you going out and going a whole different direction than what I have in my head. Okay. So yeah, CC's, questions, clarifications, send them my way. Next is your input and feedback are absolutely crucial. Like everything that we're planning, it's just a plan, right? So your responses to that, especially since you're the ones in the front lines doing the main work and going with my plan, you're the best person to go to in terms of naming how good the plan is or how sucky the plan is. Okay. And then lastly, same thing, like let's really earn each other's trust here. So, whatever I can do for you as much as I can, let me know. And on your end, like I want you to be mastering your ability. So being a great facilitator on Zoom, being a great communicator with the scholars, show up and follow through consistently, not just for me, but definitely for the scholars. If I'm having family meetings with them about being late or not showing up, then I'm probably going to be having family meetings with you too about showing up. And then lastly, showing integrity and compassion. goes both ways for definitely want to be understanding of you and your situations. But same thing back to me and Jose as well. We're dealing with quite a bit as well. So just no understanding like what happens, like there's the consequences and the effects of everything that happens or doesn't happen. Okay. All right. And I think that's it on my end. I'll take any final questions from you all, and then we're good to go for tonight.
So you mentioned me doing, I can't even remember now, and it's not in my phone because I just realized my calendar is malfunctioning.
No problem.
Monday, I think it was seminar. Or
It was two study groups on Mondays for the LEM3.
Does that start on the 21st?
That starts on the 21st. Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me the times? Because it's my calendar. It's not there.
Yep. I just need to pull it up. Sorry. Yeah. So America and Nat, they are going to be helping with study groups. They're going to be doing the study, not helping. They're literally going to be running the study groups for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing hiring with the new group of counselors coming in next week. And then I think the week after, I'll have them kind of sit in with you all just so they get a feel of what the program's like, okay? And how it operates, okay? So now it's 2 to 3 on Monday and then 5 to 6 on Monday.
So both of them are Monday, 2 to 3 and 5 to 6 on Monday.
Yes, and then that's all you have to take care of for the week. Okay.
Audi, where can I find the times for my city groups on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
It's 4:30 to 5:30 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'll put out a roster because I have to email it out to the scholars anyways. And then Thursday is 4 to 5.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
What are we gonna be doing on Monday exactly?
Yep, I'll send that out.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about it tomorrow, right, during the training, and then I'll send it. I'll have the agenda and stuff, activities for you all. Yep.
Can you remind me what time the training tomorrow is?
I need to remember this. I think facilitator is 4:30 to 6, 3 to 4:30 for the coaches.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Sorry. I guess I should add on this. Just kind of remembered. One timesheet. I think everyone updated their timesheet, so that's great. Thank you for that. Update your timesheet every time you come into work now. Okay, so that way I don't because I'm trying to make sure we get those timesheets in on time. Because their staff got cut too, so they definitely don't like it when we turn in stuff late. And then 2, please make sure just again just for now, when I guess I can talk about tomorrow too, but just for now, if you want to add an extra half hour every week to your timesheet to do checking emails or the Slack updates, that's fine. But then I would ask that you check every day, just so then you are up to date. Or if you want to wait till the day that you are to work, you're going to be working, because I know some of you have like a full day. So that's fine with me, but just make sure the very first thing that you do is checking your emails and your Slack. And then making sure that at least on Slack, you're doing the responses, just so that we have an idea like where you're at. Okay. And I'm trying to move most of my communications onto Slack, so I'm kind of attempting that for this year. So just to give you a heads up, so you'll probably be getting very few emails from me this year. All right, I think I'm good, unless if you have questions, you can just stick around. Otherwise, our meeting is over. Thanks again. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I have a question about.
Go for it.
I have a question. I had a meeting with Makeda today, and
Makeda, okay.
I was asking her I believe it was a study group. Hold on, let me pull off my notes.